everyone! It's me, Sarah. I'm here today to talk a little bit about myself and a little bit of my past, who I am, and something that's been on my mind this week. Why I left church. Always really identified with Alice in the Looking Glass, her curiosity of going through a mirror and seeing a different world and exploring it and trying to understand it. And of course, she's 12, so of course she understands like a 12-year-old brain, but me and not being 12, I know that I can understand it in a not 12-year-old brain. So yeah, this is this is me. I was the girl who was always in church. I've been to a bunch of different types of churches: Alliance, Baptist, Pentecostal, non-denominational, prosperity messages, healing messages, speaking in tongues, all of that, very spiritual. Not so much Catholicism or Orthodox. I grew up my whole life going to church basically every Sunday. We were very involved in church. My parents and my family did worship. I did dance, I did creative ministry, I did kids, I did youth. I went to a Bible college for 3 years, tithed regularly, loved the community. But as I got older, I felt myself shifting and I felt myself changing, and I had a hard time resonating with the structure. I left church in 2013, and I had to literally put everything spiritual on a hiatus because I had to come back at it with a new perspective to be able to see, what do I believe and what am I told that I should believe. I had felt that way, that there was more than what I was getting, but I didn't know who I was outside of being a church girl. I didn't know how to trust my own instincts. I didn't know how to trust my own self. I was constantly searching for validation, constantly searching for someone in leadership to tell me that I'm doing it right. And when I did trust myself, my leadership team would pull me aside and tell me I was wrong consistently, which was such a battle for me because I felt so strongly that what I was doing was finally stepping into my own power, and they would come and swat me down because they're people. And that's, I think, the main thing I want to talk to you about why I left church, is because we are all people. And I think there's something so beautiful about us as humans where we can just be ourselves, where we can thrive spiritually in a community that is best suited for us. I love church because it is such a beautiful community. People find their families in church, find families to help them in church. They find help, they find love, they find connection, they find all of these things: wholeness, healing, help. I love it. I've always loved that about churches. So I wanted to come up here and talk about the importance of listening to your own intuition, being your own spiritual teacher. I think there is something so magical and so wonderful about pastors. I think they're amazing. They're the people who start the dialogue. They're the people who are like, this is what I was talking to God, and this is what I've been seeing. Start a conversation in your head. I know I do that with books, podcasts. There's so many people that I listen to, and some stuff I really resonate with and I really agree with. Other stuff is just, it's either not for me ever, or it's not for me in this moment. And I need to honor myself by honoring that. That doesn't mean that this person is awful or toxic or wrong. It just means that what they're experiencing in their life right now isn't necessarily what I'm experiencing in my life right now. And that's okay. That's okay. I think it's also very important. You have to do your own work. I didn't know how to do my own work. I didn't really know how to do my own devotionals without relying on somebody to confirm that I'm doing them right. I had questions and I didn't trust my own answers. I needed someone else to answer them. So what you do when you start thinking like that, you put your pastor or your leader on a pedestal and they essentially become your God. Now, I'm not saying this is for everyone who goes to church, but this was something that I noticed in my life, and I noticed other people doing that too. You have created them to be your God. You are no longer serving God who is with you, who is in you, Holy Spirit who is around you. You are now serving that man and his God who is with him and helping him. And that's why I believe so strongly that we need to learn how to be our own teachers. I think the most important thing is that we're kind, that we're compassionate, that we have empathy, that we listen, that we forgive, that we love. That's what light is. Light is those things that are good. That doesn't necessarily mean that there isn't time for righteous anger. That doesn't mean there isn't time to set boundaries. Setting boundaries is so important. I don't know why all of a sudden I said boundaries and I was like, oh God, set your boundaries. Boundaries are the most important thing ever. And that is how you thrive in churches, by setting energetic and spiritual boundaries, even if it is your pastor. Because we're all people, just trying to find what resonates with us and then sharing our story with others. We all want to help people. We all want to see people thrive. So you can do that in a church and you can do that outside of a church. One of my sayings that I kind of told myself when I left church is there are toxic people in church and there can be light workers outside of church. Church is no longer my identity. It's no longer who I am. And I'm thriving in that. Now, I'm not going to say that's for everyone in everyone's journey, but if you're feeling tired and you're going to church because what would people say if you don't go anymore, then you need to reassess yourself and honor yourself. You're not going to thrive the same way if your belief system is simply based on what you believe other people have told you. You need to be able to believe it for yourself. And it's okay if you don't. And I think sometimes in churches, at least where I was at when I went to church, I had a hard time believing that it was okay for me to believe something different and to choose my own path. And so much so that it was easier to choose my own path without being surrounded by certain individuals that were consistently trying to manipulate my life. Good intentions, but not executed well. And that's why I left church. Honor yourself, love yourself, be true to who you are, go with love, go with kindness. Bye, everyone. And then if I know how to edit well, there'd be some fun music here. Yeah.